This is the Ask Faleskini podcast, where the modern economy is discussed from a skeptic's perspective. Mr. Faleskini helps you distinguish what is sustainable in our economy and what isn't. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not all mud is dirty. The podcaster Mr. Faleskini provides no-nonsense advice. He had it all, lost it all, went bankrupt multiple times, and is now attempting to come back from zero with sustainable growth. There are numerous coaches and preachers on the internet that preach about positive thinking and how life is all roses if you just care to see it that way. Well, Mr. Faleskini is definitely not one of them. We recommend you ask Faleskini to keep it real. He discusses the darker side of the current economic reality, the side that's more important for your personal and business finance. His first intention is to help you keep what you already have. Not to be a complete party pooper, Mr. Faleskini will also hint at the earning opportunities in the economy today. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please like, share, and subscribe. And now it's time to start taking notes. The mic goes to the podcaster, the one and only Mr. Faleskini.
Thank you, Taylor. During my interactions with successful business people, I'm repeatedly disappointed. It intrigues me. How is it even possible that majority of business people still believe that the key to higher profit is the lowest price of inputs? They are completely oblivious of how high the price of chasing the lowest price actually is. That is the reason why I'm dedicating this whole episode to explaining the dangers of always chasing the lowest price. Let's get right into the theory. According to the modern economic theory, a profit is the difference between the revenue received from outputs and costs of inputs. Oversimplification and understanding the costs just as the costs that occur here and now and just with single transaction will result in devastation for you, your company, society, and environment. As a consequence of most people and companies only dealing with direct costs from the present, they spend hours, days, and in some cases even months chasing the lowest price. Most business people is oblivious to the fact that cheap prices inevitably result in lower quality of the product and services, lower quality of supplies, unpaid people, negative impact on the environment, higher and higher debt, negative impact on the whole economy, negative impact on intellectual property rights, and everything will become a commodity. There will be no or just low differentiation. As history teaches us, the result of chasing the lowest price is the death of industries, regions, and demise of whole countries. I'm amazed when I see top companies of the world have all these environmental impact, social responsibility programs, but most of them fail to source things locally and push their suppliers to the limit every single quarter. The lowest price is much more than just an economic occurrence. It is a social, psychological, and also physical phenomenon. As a society, we are now programmed to understand that if we get the lowest price, we win. And we also understand really well that all is fair in love and war. In order to secure victory, in this case the lowest price, everything is acceptable. Chasing the lowest price gives us an adrenaline rush, and when we get the lowest price, we get a dopamine rush. And yes, it is highly addictive. So even when we consciously understand that we have become low-price junkies because of the adrenaline rush followed by a dopamine rush, it takes quite a while to stop this self-destructive behavior. And yes, getting off the low-price addiction is similar to getting off drugs and as hard as taking on a really strict diet. This is exactly my story, so let me share the details with you. I come from a traditional family where it was often stressed that quality costs money. A decent job deserves decent payment. Shop locally if it is available, even if the price is a bit higher. Local people tend to spend money within the community. If we pay more, everyone wins. And then, in the 19th, the internet came. All prices on the globe became available to everyone with internet access. And that is how my addiction to the lowest price began. Having a tycoon mentor in my early 20s that tried to avoid payments whenever he could get away with it made things even worse. So my mindset was set to pay as little as possible, and even that only if it is absolutely necessary to pay. And on the other hand, charge as much as possible. The difference is all mine. This is how fast money is made, with no regards to the people and environment where we live. It didn't take long, and chasing the lowest price quickly developed into cross-border underestimation of costs, since I believed I can always get things cheaper. And of course, delays due to waiting for the desired price. And on top of that, I was being stingy, even if I tried to present myself as being modest. All this resulted in escapade of chasing the lowest price. For example, clothes are cheaper on sales, and that's the first stage. And the second stage is that you can get even cheaper clothes if you buy different brand. And then if you buy non-branded clothes, for example, t-shirts for print, they are even cheaper. There was a time when I used the cheapest phone on the market. I pushed it so far that my business partner went and bought me new iPhone due to the bad quality of sound that has influenced our business communication. Pushing the lowest price limit, there's also food. In food, the prices might also get too extreme. And the easiest way out to get a cheap food is to eat fast food. Fast food was so cheap to buy, but the effect on my health, fitness, and mood was devastating. I was 60 pounds overweight, had several severe back problems, barely able to pull 10 chin-ups and run for 10 minutes. Next stop where I used the lowest price to the limit were cheap hotels. Of course, cheap hotels have no parking, no peace at night because everyone is partying in the cheap hotels. They have cheap breakfast. Usually they don't have any internet. They don't have any gym or pool. And if you go to the extreme, also the hotels stay dirty. Optimizing my flights with the lowest price in mind resulted in buying cheap tickets with no refunds, no rescheduling, no free parking, no free business lounges, and occasionally overbooked, and you get a nice smile and a sandwich when you have to wait 2 or 3 days on the airport. In my business, I took the cheapest price also to another extreme. I changed all reliable long-term business partners with the lowest price ones. As a direct consequence, quality dropped, communications and many different problems occur, and it costs a fortune to repair. Some businesses even went bankrupt because we chose the lowest price supplier in order to chase the biggest difference. The cheap office without parking, meeting rooms was also the consequence of just searching for the lowest price. We took things even farther. We bought cheap printers. Of course, paper jams, running out of ink even if 2 pieces of paper ago it was full, or at least it indicated that it is full. Of course, we also optimized our costs with cheap inks that got dry, or colors that are for the colorblind bunch only. I've also took it to extreme with cheap tools. For example, for construction projects, we just gave our workers the cheap tools instead of professional tools. And then I continue with the cheap vans and cars. Of course, there were always delay, sky-high repair bills, and of course, waiting on the side of the road was nothing special. Another thing that happened in Europe with a cheap car is that in German cities, you're not allowed to go into downtown due to the emission standards. So we had to park outside the city, take a train or even a taxi, spend more money on the tickets and similar. Of course, driving slow in the rain and snow due to the cheap tires. And on the lowest point of my chasing the lowest price experiment, I ended up with 22 years old Hyundai Atos without an air condition. You guessed it correctly, I got it for free. These are just a few of my mistakes from the lowest point in my addiction to the lowest price. It took me a long time, but I learned my lessons. Now I drive a new car on new premium tires. I work with new computers, a new phone, and a new printer. I buy only premium tools and branded clothes, still cheap brands, but no more no names. And I try to purchase all my food in a local shop. Based on my experiences, on my journey away from the lowest price addiction, I have prepared a list of opportunities on how you and your company can profit by stopping the lowest price hunt. For business people, it is important that they stop chasing the lowest price, expose the advantage of working with you to the client. So it is important that your product are being positioned on the market, not based on the price of your competition, but based on the advantages that you offer to your client. So it is paramount that you understand your advantages, your added value, and then present that to your clients in order to avoid the lowest price and being compared to other products. Invest in quality and reliability. Especially when you're investing in your company, do not go with the lowest price and just think of usability, so the utility of the things you buy. Think of their quality and long-term reliability. You have to have a good relationship with your suppliers, especially when supply shortages occur. And you know that right now we are in times when supply shortages are nothing special, so they are quite often. The situation that you have to handle is there. You have to have inputs for your production or your services. So you have to have good relationship with supplier, because maybe there is another unit or another device or something available that has a bit different price, but your supplier won't even offer it to you because he's used for you always chasing the best price. If your supplier understands that something is important for you, then he might be inclined to offer you something that costs a bit more, but you can get it faster. It's also really important that in any line of business, you understand the cost structure of your suppliers. Since if you will push them below their actual cost, you will destroy them. Not in a week or whatever, a month, but in a couple of years, if they will go below their actual costs, they will just go bankrupt. As a consequence, your supply chain will be endangered. And if you don't stop on time, your supply chain will fall apart completely. So it is important that you have understanding how the cost structure of your supplier work and that you never push them below their actual costs. And there are also a lot of opportunities for consultants. I think the biggest opportunity for consultants is to help business people understand the dangers of chasing the lowest price. It is important that they understand that lowest price is not just economic occurrence. It's also very important because of its impact to the environment. You want everyone in the supply chain to be well off. You don't want to win in a way that demands your supplier to lose. And this is because of the world today and because of so many information that is available. And because of this doctrine that you need to chase the lowest price, this is a huge paradigm shift. And consultants have the huge opportunity to help business people change paradigm and to help them stay profitable or even increase profitability when at the same time they don't chase the lowest price. Consultants should help businesses and business people increase their margins or added value, so they won't be forced to chase the lowest price for their inputs. I also believe that consultants could prepare a course or even a coaching session for individuals where they would explain the dangers of always chasing the lowest price and the way to improve their business and, of course, also private life if they stop chasing the lowest price that is so popular in our society and especially in business circles today. Let me conclude this episode by repeating the most important facts regarding the lowest price chase. There is a myth in today's economy that if you get the lowest price, you are victorious regardless of the consequences. That might be the case in dog-eat-dog environment. In a society where you want people to thrive, you need to reverse that logic. Chasing the lowest price gives us adrenaline rush, and when we get the lowest price, we get a dopamine rush. And yes, it's highly addictive. So even when we consciously understand that we have become low-price junkies because of the adrenaline rush, followed by a dopamine rush, it takes quite a while to stop self-destructive behavior. Getting off the lowest price addiction is similar to getting off drugs, and it is as hard as taking on a strict diet. I would like you to remember the proverb, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap things. This is true for business and personal life alike. And back to Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Faleskini, for this outstanding podcast. And thank you for listening to the Ask Faleskini podcast until the end. Mr. Faleskini would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And don't forget, if you want to know, ask Faleskini or listen to the Ask Faleskini podcast. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.